So Demon Hunters can clear an entire map in just 3 globals. With this much mobility, you'd think you can use it however you want, right? Well, not exactly. There's actually a delicate balance here that we have to talk about. Our mobility buttons, they aren't just for movement. They're also key for dealing damage and staying alive as well. So take Vengeful Retreat for example. It's our biggest defensive mobility tool, but at the same time, it's also one of our most impactful offensive abilities. So let's dive in and explore why. Vengeful Retreat works a lot like a Hunter's Disengage, but with some extra benefits. First, when you use Vengeful Retreat, you're going to generate 80 Fury over 10 seconds. Second, it resets your initiative buff, giving you a significant increase to your critical strike chance. And finally, you get Glimpse, which provides immunity to crowd control and reduces damage taken for as long as you're in the air. Now, with all these offensive bonuses, you might be wondering when's the right time to use Vengeful Retreat purely for mobility? The answer is pretty easy: during your burst windows. Using it then not only helps you stay on your target, but it also amps up your damage output when it matters most. And if you want to focus entirely on damage, try pairing Fellblade with Vengeful Retreat to instantly leap back straight to your target. We can see this in action right here in this VOD. Here, the Demon Hunter is in meta and needs to maintain uptime on the Paladin. To maximize damage and avoid CC, they use Vengeful Retreat, followed by Fellblade to stay on their target. This combo helps us to generate a steady stream of Fury, which allows the Demon Hunter to focus on high-impact abilities like Death Sweep and Annihilation during their meta. Now, speaking of Fellblade, it's similar to a Warrior's Charge, but with a much shorter range of just 15 yards. When you use it, you leap to your target and you generate a solid amount of Fury. Fellblade does have a chance to reset with your auto attacks, so you want to weave it in whenever you need Fury or to close the gap on your target. But there's a neat trick you can do with Fellblade. If you're getting knocked back, you can use Fellblade to cancel the knockback and instantly jump right back to your target. So now let's talk about Fell Rush. It dashes you forward, and you've got 2 charges to work with. Well, that's pretty simple, right? But here's where that delicate balance part we talked about really comes into play. With Unbound Chaos, Fell Rush is actually one of your highest damage abilities. When you activate Immolation Aura, it boosts the damage of your next Fell Rush by a massive 250%. And consuming that buff doesn't just hit hard, it also gives you a damage buff, depending on whether you play Momentum or Inertia. Now, it's always going to be a smart idea to save at least 1 charge of Fell Rush for movement. If you use up both charges purely for damage, you're going to find it much harder to stay on your target when they start kiting. Balancing damage and mobility is going to be key to making the most out of this ability. So now let's take a closer look at the Demon Hunter's Fell Rush charges. You're going to notice they always try to keep at least 1 charge available. Even when both are used, there's only a short gap of a few seconds where they're without a Fell Rush. The takeaway here? It's almost always better to walk towards your target and save your mobility for when you really need it, rather than using it just because it's available.